A very good morning still to each and every one of you. If you watch our first two speakers, you would have benefited tremendously. So welcome to the first panel session where I've got three lovely ladies. And the topic for today is why the 0 to 6 years are critical. We always know they are very formative, but let me just touch a little on this here. So we know that our outward development is a reflection of our inner development. So if we just take a look at a newborn baby, their weight, their growth, their physical expansion, that is literally a reflection of their inside, the cognitive and the internal development as well. Just that we can't see the inside, right? And why I say that's critical is because the 0 to 7 years, by Aristotle, what he says, give me a child until 7 years old, and I will show you the man. So literally, a lot of studies and research has shown that the first 7 years are critical because of the explosive output that these kids will later on have in life, whether as teenagers or adults. And we're not just talking about habits or mindset, we are talking about their cognitive, their physical, their emotional development. So here, I'm very pleased to introduce my three lovely panelists. I have, starting from there, I do have Patricia, who is the founder of the Early Brain Academy. She has a very unique PIES system to help parents nurture babies so that they learn quickly and naturally. And then the lady in pink, hot pink, is Lenny, where she's the CEO of Wonderful Minds. This is so interesting because demographics is actually fingerprint analysis. I will allow her to share more later. And then we also have Jinny, who is passionate about food, the importance of food and how it impacts our little ones. So let's give them a round of applause from wherever you are. I would love to have the questions that you have. And if you agree with what we have been doing and like it, do support us by just clicking on the UR code, because any contribution will allow us to continue our work. So thank you. Okay, so I want to ask each and every one of you to share about each of these kids. About kids, right? Because one is the neuro, one is neuro-mapping, one is food. So as a new mom, what is key to watch out for in the neuro development of my child head?
Wow. Right, thanks. Thank you, Jinny, for the introduction. Right, as a new mom, all of us know we are all born with the same brain, actually. And all our babies are born with the 100 billion brain cells. All right, you and I have the same 100 billion brain cells. What makes our brain really different is how well these cells are being connected. And all of us are still connecting right now, actually. Even so long as we are learning, we are interacting, we are always connecting. Oh, but the 0 to 3 years, which is my area of specialization, is that neuro, the early brain, as we call, is where the connectivity is the most sensitive. So we work with parents to develop, and that's how my PI system comes about. And as a new mom, give your child as much opportunities, to give your child the PIEs. Okay, PIEs actually stands for physical, intellectual, emotional, and social environment. And that's how the PI system comes about. Because it's easy, right? You say, oh, you got to stimulate your child. You got to develop the motor skill of the child. But how? So we actually teach parents step by step, week after week, how we give this. And actually for 0 to 3 years old, the little bit we do, in fact, my system teaches parents to just give a 5-second sprinkle, and it creates sparks in the brain. And the brain just connects easily. And this then later leads the child to learn everything and anything so easily, because parents know why. 0 to 3, when you create that environment, right, that becomes the child's natural environment, isn't it? It becomes natural. So when the child is of age to do these, right, like to be able to enjoy sports, to balance well, it is natural for them. And the intellectual is also developed when you provide the right sensorial stimulations as they learn to touch and feel. And then learning becomes natural for them. Yes, so I hope I have put it really simply for everyone to understand, Junia.
Yes, it's amazing. Because Pat, I just want to share, right? Like even as a young mom, because I know that the motto, the sensory stimulation is critical.
Yes.
So what I literally did, correct me if I'm wrong, I will carry my young child,
Yes.
and when we go to the beach, I will let her touch the tree bark.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the older generation, don't touch so dirty. But I will let them walk on the sand, sit on the grass, and initially they'll be like, so pokey. So I want to hear your thought. Does that help the connection, when we talk about
Sure. These are all I call the incidental environments that once parents are aware, like Junia is of course very well read and learned, as you can hear, so this mother is very conscious, right? And she provides the environment. But the thing is that we don't go to the beach every day, correct? So this is where their parents need to learn in the 24/7 environment how to continuously give that, right? And I don't think you can see that from so far, but I just want to tell parents that our brain starts from the back of the brain when you provide the sensorials, and what connects the back and the front of the brain is actually the motor strip. So parents sometimes neglect motor. When I do public events and talks, right? Unfortunately, I can't do a face-to-face. I can tell you that I would say 90% of parents will say, what do you want your child to benefit from your early intervention, early program? Most parents say, I want a confident child, I want a child who can learn easily, I want a child who wants to read. Actually so few seriously, parents will say, oh, I want a physically strong child who can enjoy sports, right? But parents, this is a holistic development. And when these are formed, then where the emotions, which Lenny's area of specialization for later, you will see that come through so easily. The emotion and the social, it becomes part of the child, and we make it so simple because first 3 years, we create a habit for them already. And we parents, right, are the best people to demonstrate discipline. When we do something regularly with our child, giving them the environment and nurturing them, you don't even realize you're nurturing, because it becomes a habit for us too. So that's the beauty of being nurturing parents. And I call my tribe, my parents, the learner parents.
I so love the way you put the learner parents, because I think we are growing until the day we die, and it's not just academic learning, but it's learning new mindsets. And I love what you say about connecting the back, the sensorial part, together with the front, which is about regulation, right? Where we can, where some kids, they tend to lose control, like they're very agitated very quickly, and it's connected by the motor. So parents, if your kids are running around, let them sweat it out at the playground. In fact, for me, play is one of the things that we schedule in. Excellent. Because I feel that when the one that helps them sleep better on the practical level. And on the other side, I love it when they are just doing their cartwheels and doing somersaults. Yes. Which brings us to Lenny. If you will, be able to share, right? As kids from 0 to, as they grow and they're exploring their world, how do I get my kids to listen to me? So I'm talking about, the emotional, the behavioral part, because every child is unique. Oh, yes. So we'd love to hear about the work you do, Lenny.
Thank you, Junia. Now, of course, when a child feels right, often they will act right. So how do we then work on their behavior? So at Wonderful Minds, we have this tool called Neuro-mapping. So basically, it's a brain map. You know how when we eat chili crab, pepper crab, if you don't have, the pincer, right, the pins and help you crunch the hard shell, it's hard to eat. It's the same thing when we have tools, great tools, right? It's wonderful for parents to actually, use the tool that it facilitates and enhance the communication with the kids. So Neuro-mapping is brain map. It's actually a US patented tool, where we can actually tell a lot about the brain and therefore how this child learns, decide, not decide, and therefore their personalities and their behavior. So I'm going to talk about the 4 main personalities, subdivided into 17 subtypes. So with each one, you need to work with them very differently, right? So I have a little chart here, which I can show more later. So for example, the ducklings, these are the curious babies. They always ask why. So they may appear to challenge authority, but really it's because they're so curious and they cannot move on when they don't have the answers. So we have a strategy to deal with them. Then we have the radio, the opposition party. Everyone says yes, they say no. You tell them, Jan, hurry. Slow down. You say, we're going home, it's the first at the door. Alright? So dealing with this kind, right, we may tend to offend people sometimes, when they are the radio type. Very, very, very blunt. Right? Then you have the emotional type, right? Where the emotions really need to be looked after. Yeah, because we've had cases, obviously, right? When these kids are super nice, sweet, but because all the emotions are bottled up, and then we have cases and issues of suicide, right? Because, parents did not know how to really communicate effectively, understand the child. So we can talk about this more later. So in summary, it's basically bring back to understand their personalities and therefore how to work with them.
I'm so laughing as you're sharing, right, the 4 personalities, because I can already guess which of my kid. One is always asking why, and then the other one is rebellious. She will do things her way, like go to school, never comb the hair, my daughter, right? The one who goes to school, and then, the other one who's very emotional. Don't want to go to school, I can quietly don't go to school. I know, like quite shy for me, And did you mention the 4th one, or?
Yes, there's also the A type, right? For these, the brain is like a sponge, right? It will soak up everything given the right environment. Otherwise, appear to be slower to warm up. So slow to walk people, slower to learn, slower to laugh, right? But once they learn, it's fantastic, right? And so for them, emotions is really, really, really key for them. Safety, security, simplicity, repeated is the most important for them to learn. And once they learn, amazing, right? So we encourage parents to not kind of like pigeonhole or say that, their stereotypes and say that my child must be like this, or mommy's like this, or daddy's like this, or your elder sister is like this, your brother is like this, so you must be like this. Because each one is really different, and the way to engage them in communication, behavior is also different and exciting.
I so love what you share because I think our fingerprints, the first time I heard about this, I was one of those who signed my child up. Because fingerprints, we all know is unique, right? The way I'm wired up. But when I actually heard scientifically that the fingerprint is actually a reflection of the mind and gives me an insight to my child's learning styles, for example, or my child's temperament, I was like, or even their multiple intelligence. I was like, wow, this is amazing, I already know what their unique gifting is, and maybe it's easier to set them up for success that way.
Oh yes, like the next years of schooling, right? So just to clarify, it is not fortune telling. Unfortunately, we cannot tell, fortunes or kids' fortunes or your kids' fortune, because fortune telling is the palm lines and it changes, right, over time. 3 to 6 months it changes. So I always jokingly say that's why fortune tellers make a fortune. You will not hear the same story. You know the same story twice, right? And you will not hear it twice. Yeah, but really our fingerprints do not change in our lifetime.
I got it. Sorry, we just got, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Lenny. And I want to move on to Jinny. Okay, so we talk about food 0 to 6 years old. So how do I support my child's growing brain and body with nutrition? Because I believe that what we eat, right, doesn't just go into the gut, which is the second stomach, but it affects the cognitively, the mental. So, what are brain food and food that build immunity, Jinny?
Okay, hi, good morning everyone. Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you Junia and Mom Swiss for inviting me this morning. Yeah, so when coming to food, so allow me to draw to you to a science called the nutritional immunology. Okay, so there's a saying say we are what we eat. Yeah, so that's actually based on the science of nutritional immunology. This is the science that studies the link between our immune system and the food we eat. So today, in order to have a healthy body, healthy brain, so we need to have a healthy immune system. So how to have a healthy immune system? Then we need to nourish it with the wholesome plant food. Yeah. So talking about brain food, so I'll share about 3 here. So first, ensure your kids, your children have sufficient plant protein in their diet. Okay, just now like what Patricia has shared, our brain has 100 billion cells. Yeah. So, our body made up by cells. Cells will form tissue, tissue will form organs, and then organs will form body system. Okay, and do you know that every day our body actually will regenerate up to 200 billion cells? Yeah. So, in order to have a healthy body, healthy brain, we need to ensure the new generated cells are healthy. So, the protein is very crucial in supporting the normal growth and the development. So, for babies, 0 to 6 months, the best protein source is actually mommy breast milk. Yeah, so I think this one Patricia agree very much. Yeah, so that is the best beverage for our babies. But of course, mommy, do thank God you need to think of what you eat also, because we are what we eat. What you eat, you actually pass down via breast milk to your children also. So for children after 6 months, after they wean off from the breast milk, so actually best and the safest source of the protein is actually wholesome soy. Yeah, so I know when I talk about wholesome soy, there will be two groups of people. One is the strong soya supporter, the other group is who have misconception about soy. But because due to time constraints today, I won't go further on this, but you can come to look for me after this. Okay, for soy protein, it has actually 2 times higher than meat, 3 times higher than eggs, and 12 times higher than this milk. Yeah. So second food to eat is actually okay, after 6 months old, after our baby can start the solid food, give plenty of wholesome plant food. Because wholesome plant food, not only will give our children, the common nutrients like vitamin A, B, C, E, calcium, blah blah blah. It also can give our kids the disease-fighting nutrients like antioxidants, phytochemicals, and polysaccharides. Okay, so for example, during fever time, give more wholesome plant food which rich in antioxidants and phytochemicals, for example, cactus. It has very high anti-inflammatory properties. So it can speed up the recovery.
Got it. Wait, sorry, interrupt a bit. So cactus, like the real thorny cactus.
Okay, cactus. There are about, I think, 400 to 500 species cactus in the market, but there's only 200 species that are illegal to eat. The rest are
so what's one example? Example, if I were to go to the supermarket and give them cactus, what vegetable should I be buying?
Other than cactus, you mean?
Okay, yes. So cactus is not sold in supermarkets.
Yeah, it's not sold.
Okay.
So you can find things like, fruits is very high in antioxidants like blueberries, the berries of
Grapes.
Citrus, grapes. Yeah, grapes also. Yeah. So foods like mushroom is very high in polysaccharides, so it can help to destroy the foreign invaders inside our body like bacteria or viruses. Yeah. So the third thing, so let me finish the third thing, is actually brain food. Just like I mentioned brain food. So brain food like protein definitely we need it. From wholesome soy, and then food grade ginseng like American ginseng and Jinny ginseng, and also lion mane mushroom. Yeah, because just now Patricia mentioned about connectivity. So it's actually come from things called neurons. Okay, so our diets can affect this process called neurogenesis, which is a process which the new neurons form in our brain. And in our brain cells, there's a protein called NGF, nerve growth factor. Yeah, so brain food like wholesome soya, Jinny ginseng, this lion mane mushroom, it can boost up the productivity of the NGF. So as such, it can protect our neurons, so we can have better memories and concentration. Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. A round of applause for Jinny. I'm like, wow, so she comes up with so many. I thought just normal eating, but I love what she says in the food, right? Like I fully know at the back of my mind that food does connect, right? Like what you're saying, mushrooms now, right? So after I'll get a list from her of the kind of mushrooms that I can begin to put into the kids' diet so that their neurons connect faster and memory and all memory gets significantly improved. So very powerful share. Okay, so now ladies, I want to ask you, all right, what is one mistake, that you see the way parents handle their 0 to 6 years old today? So if we can start with Pat, I want to hear your thought. Like earlier, we had this session by Mr. Ho Yang on the impact of digital media on the brain development. So, for example, in today's time, we hear a lot of kids who have ADHD, ADD, in the past don't have. So, is it because of is it scientifically proven that flashing images don't work? Or is it that we never had those labels 20 years ago?
Wow, that's a big question because I did a lot of research on this. Because the parents I come across, my 0 to 3, already parents are seeing signs of their children at 1.5, 2 years old. These children, parents, because these terms ADHD are used so sparingly outside. The parents are, my child has ADHD, but I tell parents, we don't label them. You can't see ADHD in a 2-year-old, you can't see them in a 3-year-old. Let's watch these. First, parents must know that all children are born to move, they enjoy moving, let them move. Because they like to move, they enjoy to move, we label them ADHD. So, going back to the study of the neurons, right, is that the 0 to 3 brain is very active and they need to be given opportunities to learn. So then if not given the right opportunity, they find their own way to learn, right? So because it's already so active and they're being misperceived as being short attention span, then what happens is that parents, it's a very convenient way, and going back to Junia's question, right? Okay, we talk about the devices, right? This very convenient device, a big screen, a small screen, we all have everywhere at home. And we thought, okay, we let our child be entertained when they're eating, they eat faster, we make sure they eat their meal. But parents not realizing that as the child finishes that bowl of meal that grows their body, it diminishes their brain growth. Actually, watching television, it does stimulate the brain because we know all sensorials, right? So watching visual, auditory does stimulate the brain. So it does stimulate the brain. However, it is the form, the way that information goes into the brain that causes that misconnectivity. The very massive connectivity of the information becomes, I always put it in very layman's terms so that I won't use, confuse you. Just imagine haywiring. So fast flashing images. So as simple as we think, oh, it's just a cartoon, But if you look at the connectivity of information, Mickey Mouse was having a nice meal with Minnie Mouse in a restaurant. Next thing you see Mickey Mouse jumping and hopping in the garden, There's no connectivity. So that's what I mean by flashing images. Not because they're flickering images. Not so much of that, but connectivity of the information that then helps the cell to connect well, to understand instructions. So one of the big mistakes a lot of parents make, and I've seen case studies and cases of parents who come across. I was just sharing with Jinny this morning while I was having coffee. What's satisfying for me is that I see all these years, right? I see so many parents who come, a good maybe 30-40% who come with older children. To me, in my context of older children, of course, the 1.5, 2 years old to even 3 years old. Mummies were crying. I don't know how to manage my child. They're helpless, I don't know what to do. My son is not listening to me. And in front of me, I do see meltdowns. When they say, come, let's read a book together. The child wants to run about. The mommy will bring them, come, let's read a book. Oh, the child will wriggle and move on. Then, first question, what have you been giving your child? What? Haven't you read? Yes, I read, but they just run about. Then I said, next question is, has your child been watching television? Oh, how do you know? How do you know? Obvious. These are all obvious, right? And so one very detrimental thing, and in fact, I have parents who, after hearing me in a workshop, I sit down by 1 o'clock, calling home, can you please switch on the television? Switch on the television. And there's already proof, and there's already medical reports that is saying that many children are developing behavioral problem because of the digital devices. And it's very founded today. And because of my interest in this area to help parents, I read extensively. I've seen cases. I have huge stories to share from our neuroscientists who are doing their lab studies, right, with minds and giving them simulation of the screen of the minds, and then they will observe the normal minds and the screen minds. Their behavior is proven, and this hypothesis is also proven in the hospitals. So one thing that you ask me is, and because of what I do, there's already evidence, as I say, and parents will come back. I can't bring my parents in here, and because it's so short, I have so many parents sharing on screen, right? How they have changed their child's environment by removing the screen and supplement, right? Replace that with meaningful play. Instead of watching the screen, they give them tactile activities to do during meal. Because some 1.5 are still being fed, or they may be doing feeding themselves. So we keep them occupied during meal time through sensorials, some physical, fine motor skill activities. This can be done. Then the child doesn't need. And you know what? Many parents came back surprised. hey Patricia, actually it's not that difficult, to win my child off the screen. I know that's my happiest moment. I tell you what, that's my happiest moment when parents come with a smile, and these are the crying moms. And 6 months later, say, hey, Patricia, today my child can really understand my instructions. My child can actually sit there and finish a book reading with me. And my child can even show empathy. That's one thing that, wow, the child actually would tell the mom, Mommy, I'm not well, I'll give birth today. You want tea, I make for you. And this from a 2.5-year-old girl who started 8 months ago when she was really meltdown down and running around. When parents do the right thing.
I so love what you shared, Patricia. And for all you moms out there, viewers, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but instead of, could we replace the iPad with probably just the food? So for example, the kids, right, at a young age, what I ask my helper to do is let them make a mess, right? Put newspaper on the floor, let them create a mess as they feed themselves, splatter everywhere, it's okay. Let them play with the pasta. Because that is not just textile, but they are learning their motor skills. And yes, it will be messy, then just clean up now. Because to me, right, it gives my child a greater empathy with someone else. Because I think what you point to is, when we focus on screen time, there's a disconnect. Am I right? I may be sitting at the same table as you. I mean, I see it quite a lot. A family sitting at the food court, everybody's on their screen and eating their own food, right? Where is that communication? Where is that connection with another human being? So when you talk about empathy, right, I realize there's so much more that develops as we choose to put away our digital devices and connect in those moments.
Because you see, as they are not fixated on that one screen, they're looking around, they're watching that old uncle picking up the food, clearing the table for us. And these are teachable moments that I always say, there's a time to ask a child, wow, you see the uncle is having a hard time cleaning the table, shall we keep our table clean, right? This is part of what we put in our system, where parents have activity. These are activity deliberate, because we need to be intentional. 0 to 3 years old is so easy, so moldable, so easy, and so much joy. And once this is set, right, tell you what, this becomes natural for our children. As they grow older, you don't even need to tell them to keep the table clean. Because they say, oh, poor uncle has to clean my table. Rather than say, hey, eat properly, don't dirty. Why, right? But we give them the whys. They watch, they see. So yes, Junia, there's a lot. I know we parents, right? Our brain is such a complex organ. And each child has a personality. And our environment keeps changing. And parents, of course, are stressed, right? So people who know me know that it took me 10 years to decide, okay, I finally have my own job. Because there's so much responsibilities. But parents, if they start, we parents learn well. And giving that formative first 0 to 3 years and then going on, the foundation is there. Then the environment becomes so natural for the child. It's part of them. We don't need to do corrective. That's why many parents with older children come to me. Patricia, they teach me how to do because they see this 0 to 3 growing up so well. They say, my 5 years old is my primary school going. I said, sorry, I have limited hours, so I will focus on 0 to 3, the clean sheets, we do it well, but look at our methods, right? And then I was kind of to Nanny, because, I said, I'm so happy to have found Nanny, because I was like, there are ways, there are things definitely we parents can still do to nurture the child moving forward, because neurogenesis is very real, right? In my study of neuroscience as well. So we are, neurogenesis or plasticity keeps moving. Yeah. So I'm going to, I'm very passionate. We touched on my very, very hot spot. So I'm going to just let go of my
It's wonderful because we've had a few behind the scenes and these wonderful ladies are so connected in what we do that, like what Pat said, she can go on. And the heart, right, is, well, this is just an hour. I look forward, parents, if you have kids 0 to 6, for the connection to continue. So we do have a WhatsApp group that we have set up for 0 to 6 years old. Go into the group, look for go into our group, our Facebook group. You will find the link there or your email, okay? And then join the WhatsApp group, and I would love to connect you with the experts. So moving on, like what we were saying, 0 to 3 years old. After the 3 years old, right, is where Lenny comes in. Ta-da! Don't worry, your fingerprints are unique for you for life. Even parents can do. And specifically, Lenny, I wanted to ask you. Let's say I want one child, right? So let's talk about behavior now. how do I manage the interaction? Like the sibling rivalry, because every child is unique.
Yes, that's a lovely question. So first of all, because every child is unique, I really, really strongly encourage parents to have one-on-one dates. One-on-one dates with their kids. So for example, one-on-one date with the eldest one-on-one date with the second one, mommy date, daddy date. Because you see, I'm the eldest in the family, so I know the eldest when we first come out, right, the first thing we learn, the math operators is division. Because initially 100, now half. Okay, so now when you have one-on-one, you realize I get 100% of mommy, I get 100% of daddy, and more than that, if moms and dads can understand each child's personality, how their brain is naturally wired, we'll talk about neurogenesis, we talk about neuroplasticity, how to then nurture them, NGF, and all that. So, for example, like the almonds, alright, so from young, actually they are the sweet, obedient ones, but we need to be strict with them, and they're like, hey, but they're nice, why strict? Because when you're strict with them, what time to do what, where to go, when, and all that, when they grow up, they won't be as influenced by friends and role models that they look after. Because we've had kids where when young, mom say, oh, my sweet angel. But by the time they get to the older years, starting 6, 7, 8, the preteens, wow, how come become monster? They learn from their friends, they're so hooked onto their devices, or they play truant, or even not smoking, right? Things like that, yes. So then how? So that's why the grounding is important. But for some moms, you may say, but how my older ones already like that? Alright, so no worries, because with our tool, Neuro-mapping tool, we have had the privilege to help parents where the students, when the child gets rid of the computer games and the handphone games on their own without nagging. So of course, mom is very happy. Right? So there are possibilities. I think what I want to share here is this hope, this possibility. Nothing is too late. Of course, if the relationship is affected, communication is affected, right, and the child starts to bang doors on you, start to not talk to you, right? I mean, that takes a little bit more, but it's still always possible. We know how to work with them, right? Because each sibling, again, is different. And you see, sometimes it's unfair when we say that the older one must always give way to the younger one. Because then it sets in this mentality that, why? Why always have to give, into the meme or the titi? And that again sets up resentment, which sets up the vicious cycle. Yeah, and if they're more emotional, again. So once we have the right strategies, back to my crab eating example, then it's easier to taste the flesh of the crab and really enjoy it. The parenting can be a lot more joyful, a lot more enjoyable.
I so totally love what you share, because I think in the minds of every parent, we know the child is unique. But yet it's easier in reality you're the older one, you're supposed to be more understanding, so give in. And that may not serve them, or the relationship, or the younger one, or the entire family dynamics, from what I hear from you.
Exactly.
And you've just mapped out for us, like we talk about 4 different profile types, subdivide that 17 times, is it?
Yeah, because thank you. Yeah, so 4 major types, alright, subdivided to 17 subtypes. So imagine each finger, right, 10 fingers, so it's the power to 10 to the power of 17. It's a huge number that even the supercomputer, cannot yet calculate, right? So God is good, amazing. Every one of us is made unique, awesome, is our own unique genius. Everyone has a genius inside us. It's bringing out that genius, right? And that we need the parents to help along with that.
And I think having a blueprint definitely helps, yeah? Instead of mindlessly guessing, and then second guessing, and third guessing, and then by the time the kids already get teenager and out of the house, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Okay, now, Jinny, I want to ask you, reports have shown that eating junk food leads to obesity. I mean, number one, obviously, right? My husband is prosperous. That's how he likes to put himself. And behavioral issues. So that's scientific videos that I've watched. And also I want to ask you, is that due to the lack of delayed gratification, or is it due to the chemistry that we ingest in these foods?
Okay, thank you, Junia. Okay, such a bit. Just now let me talk about one private date. I first not think of you 5 children.
Monday,
Tuesday, right?
Actually, I didn't mention that, right? But then I do take my kids on private dates. Alternate weeks. So on a daily basis, I do have at least 10 minutes with each of them, because I understand that they need to know that mom is for you 100%. Dining table is where we have communal eating, but there is also one-on-one where people do what you want. Okay, but then on alternate, so it's what they want and not what I want. So
Exactly.
you know I mean that. So it's amazing. I learned to do TikTok and
So you do it alternate weeks.
yeah, so I do alternate weeks. So I have like Tuesday, so I do alternate weeks, and then we go out longer. So the alternate weeks are like 1 hour, 1.5, where we go Pizza Hut or McDonald's. We just connect with them. Yeah, so I do.
Wonderful mom, because first thought is like, 5 children, Junior, how you handle it?
So I've got 5 kids and I do alternate one-on-one date. And you are right, you know, I need to be very frank. Their behavior, I know because they're like in creating this something I'm busy. So when I miss out on the 10 minutes, right? Because I do it at Monday to Friday. So sometimes I'll be like, darlings, tonight mommy is busy, you know, I got live Facebook live. And when I don't do it for a prolonged period of time, I can see the change, you know, they become more irritable, a bit more selfish, and a bit more like sibling rivalry begins to come up. And that to me is a sign of a lack of security. Yeah, because I know that when I top them up emotionally, suddenly angels, like last night I got foot massage by 3 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, one started, I don't know why. Then the second one decided you're not doing a good job, that my fingers are stronger. Massage, and then the third one was like, thank you, lady, thank you, girls. You know, so it's a joy. So sweet. Yeah, it's a real joy. Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Junior, for sharing. Okay, for myself, I have 2 girls, so okay, I think I have no issue on this. Okay, when we come back to the food, what to avoid. Okay, there's a research done by this Australian scientists on a group of 23,000 pregnant women. They studying on their eating habits, okay, throughout the pregnancy, how the eating habit throughout the pregnancy affect the kids' behavior up to 5 years old. Okay, and the research has shown that mommy who eats more junk food, like ice cream, high sugar, high fat, like potato chips during the pregnancy, the kids tends to have, like bad tempers, misbehave, very easily agitated or frustrated and all that, as compared to the mother who really look after their diet. Yeah. So this again tells us what we are, what we eat. So the foundation of our brain health, brain function, and our immunity actually started right when the baby is inside our womb. So if any pregnant mummies you are watching, do look after what you eat, and or you can look after me after this. Yeah. So when come, I would like to share 3 foods to avoid. So first is actually animal products like cow's milk, dairy, ham, bacon, cheese, sausages, and even these are the deep fried stuff. Okay. When it comes to cow's milk, dairy, it's actually not as healthy as what we thought. Alright. So the best food for 0 to 6 month baby is still the breast milk. Alright. So okay, when it comes to ham, sausages, and bacon, I know it's a comfort food for many kids but I'm sorry because there's a sodium nitrate in it. You know why the ham become pinkish? It's because of the sodium nitrate in it. And unfortunately, it is a cancer-causing agent. And there's a research done by Taiwan. Actually, it's quite alarming. Okay, the study shows that by consuming up to twice a week the bacon, ham, sausages in the diet, it can increase the risk of leukemia up to 74%. It's actually quite alarming. Yeah, so we should really look after our kids. I mean, give the food to the kids is based on the nutrition level, not the how to say to tend them or what. Because if you want to tend them, I like to for Lenny and Patricia. Yeah. So second food to avoid is the synthetic supplements, because this is really not the right nutrients that our immune system required. Just like what I mentioned earlier, our immune system, they really love wholesome plant food. Yeah, because all these synthetic supplements like vitamin A, B, C, all these essentially can come from your wholesome plant food.
I've got a question to ask. Because just now you were talking about you are what you eat, right? So one joke that I have with my kids, because one's so fair, one's so fat. So I literally tell the kids just for fun, right? I tell the oldest one, you know why you're so fat? When you were young, mommy loved soya beans. So I take a lot of soya beans, so you're white. And then the other one, because I drink a lot of coffee. So it's soya bean, right? Like, you know, the typical soya bean. Is that good? Okay?
Soya bean is actually like what I mentioned just now, is the best and the safest.
So that is good.
That is good.
It's not considered processed.
No, you need to make sure the soya bean you drink is from the wholesome soya. Yeah. So another this area I want to bring the parents to is learn to be a wise parent. Read the ingredient labels. Don't buy the front one or 100% blah blah blah. Read the ingredients, because many a times many people, why they have so many misconceptions of soy is because of majority of the product in the market, they are made up by soy isolate protein. Yeah, so this soy isolate protein, right, is not wholesome and it has a very severe side effect. Totally agree. Yeah, so have to learn to read ingredients labels.
After talking to Jinny, I'm like, wow, like there's so much. I mean, there's so much literature, there's so much research that each and every of these experts have that I'm also like, wow, I really must read everything. But one thing that I go by, as a general rule of thumb, I think that makes it easy is I reduce processed food. So things like luncheon meat, and as long as it's processed, right, I reduce it. So like, I'd rather the kids eat, like real meat, real vegetable. Less process.
But you can come to me if you need me to, digest the ingredients label for you. Yeah. So the third thing to avoid is sugary drink like bubble tea, whatever shake, milkshake, chocolate shake, Milos. Because these high fat, high sugar stuff, it will affect your brain function also. Okay, it makes the kids misbehave. Yeah. And also weight gain, obesity. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you, Jinny. I think it's very, very insightful. And I want to, in closing, right, ask each of you, what is one thing parents can specifically do more of? I mean, there's so much that we are talking about, but if to sum up, what's one practical advice that you would love to share with our viewers now?
Well, for my parents who have a 0 to 3 years old, give your child the opportunity to have pies, particularly for the 0 to 12 months, physical and intellectual. The moment the baby is born, physical activities can already be implemented. Other parents who come across, right, they say, so young, can give pies? Sure. Not the physical pie eating, but the pies is actually very, very real. How we speak to our baby, that develops that emotion, the security. Every child born, the psychologists John Bowlby already researched long ago that every child born needs that, that dependent attachment, the security they have. And not being parents, and when you so afraid of stranger, go, you're actually stripping that security from the child, right? So if you ask me that one thing that our parents are very aware is remember pies. Okay? Physical, intellectual, emotional, and social. We make this a checklist. That's how I develop pies, and the inspiration of pies is that make this a checklist and make sure that your child's environment 24/7 has that consistent, these are the positive. Then remove the negative, and you will see your child will blossom. Really. And I said this is what I eat and drink. My team does that together with me. And it's a joy. It's a joy to see parents doing this well. And specifically, I really don't have time, right? I know Junia is supposed to get me, but there's no time that I can go deep and giving you specific activities. But for a start, parents with newborn babies, we talk about newborns, unswallow them without tummy, but tummy is just not enough to. In my academy, we don't talk tummy time. We talk about mobility. We encourage our baby, let them kick on the tummy, give them a little nudge, let them maybe start kicking, and when they process the alternate leg movement, actually it develops the cerebellum part of the brain that develops future balance, coordination, posture, and enjoying future sports well.
Wonderful. That's very insightful. I love what you share because there's this research that I read. They say, the child, it wasn't actively very involved. And years later, 7, 8 years old, the child had to go back to actually crawl for the connection because otherwise it's missing.
Exactly, that's true. Very, very true. Yes. Many older children are put back on the floor to crawl, to creep, because creeping actually develops the midbrain. I know it's very scientific and it's not a science class. The midbrain actually sits inside the temporal lobe. And that is very connected even to memory, the hippocampus. So I would say it's a huge science in the brain, but I don't want to make parents feel, wow, it's so intimidated, does the brain so much. But put in simple activity every day, make it actionable. Actionable is important. No point knowing things as theory and no action. So that's the system. You need to have a proper system, put a structure in your life, and then that becomes, again, natural.
Yeah, so exactly, parents, let's not be too quick to push our kids to be walking. Because I think we live in this competitive world where, wow, your age, yours how old? Mine can walk, can sit, can stand, can run, can fly some more. But
It's not about milestones.
yes, but
it's not about milestones.
yeah, because each developmental stage is a natural progression. So let's allow nature to guide our kids in their mental, their cognitive expansion.
Right. Provided we parents nurture, right? When you are putting in effort to nurture, then nature will it's natural. Yes. So I have a friend who told me, hey, you leave a child there, right? They're like weed, they will grow. I said, my reply was, yes, then they will grow to be like weed. So you do need to nurture the nature.
And I love exactly what you say, because parents, I know we are all busy, so I want to put it in context to connect it with what Lenny said. So it's like very often we don't seem to have time. But nurturing doesn't mean that you need to be there 24/7, right? I think even if you just take that, it's the quality of the time. So for me, it's 10-15 minutes a day in just really connecting and going deep. I can physically be there for 12 hours a day and completely not connected, So I think it's just 10-15 minutes a day. Spend time with them.
Intentional. Be intentional.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Madam. Lenny, what is one advice?
Yes, because it's so easy for us to see what's not right, what's wrong. I strongly encourage parents to see what's good, what's right. Not only the kids, but also the spouse. Yes, what's right about them. Because often we're so used to say what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. It's so easy, right? But what's right? So for example, a child with a W characteristic can appear to be super stubborn, right? But then, what's the flip side? Super goal-oriented. People may give up halfway, but if they want Hokkien Mee, they go there, eat Hokkien Mee, cross borders, and come back. Right? So they accomplish something. And those who are, who seem the opposite to the opposition party, for example, right? What's good about them? They're like Steve Jobs, right? Who says, be different. Okay, be different. And so, for them, they come up with ways and ideas out of the box, different from other people. They see trends first. So get to celebrate what they are good and strong in. And for example, if you see a child tossing turning at night, and then you may not see the child tossing turning, but lying in bed the whole time, 9 hours, 10 hours, you might just call and say, you're a lazy mom, why don't you get up? But have you thought about sometimes for these kids, their brain is overactive. For kids who have brains that are overactive, at night brain keeps working, they're actually not getting enough sleep. It's not the number of hours of sleep, but quality. And so again, come back to quality, like I said, even if it's 10 minutes intentional, it's great. 10 minutes of some workout is better than 0 of a perfect workout, right? So what we can do in little chunks, in little steps, right? It's what adds up. In Malay, we have the saying, right? Sikit-sikit jadi bukit, right? A little by little builds a hill and then a mountain. So celebrate what's good about them.
I so love that, because what we choose to focus on expands. And as we choose to call out the good that they do, we are actually reinforcing the same behavior. And then the parts that we don't like, it will actually be diminished because we are not calling our focus to them. So very, very powerful and very useful. Thank you, Lenny. Jinny, what's one last thing that you want to leave with parents?
Okay, my message, be a wise parents, learn to be a wise consumer by learning to read the ingredient labels. Then also ensure your children have start their day with the correct breakfast, because it's a study shows that the kids who have regular breakfast, they are actually better in their memory and concentration also.
Wonderful. I think that sums it up very well. I think in today's times, right, I don't know, do your kids have breakfast? Mine last time, because we used to be rushing, one of them didn't have breakfast. But over time, we have since set time aside for them to actually have breakfast. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's been a very insightful and delightful conversation, and I'm sure you would want to connect with each of these experts more. So we do have a lucky draw, for those of you who are watching us live. All you have to do is to respond, okay? So the lucky draw, you have to submit your entry, and the way you submit your entry is you comment. So the 3 things that we will be giving is number 1, one free 2-day early brain workshop by Patricia. It's normally worth $497, and she's giving 1 free. All you have to do is comment workshop, and then we'll reach out to you, okay? And then Lenny has generously given 5 4 fingerprint scan, where she will help you. So 4 fingers, where she worth $38, where you will better understand how your child is different from you. Because very often, because of self-projection, I tend to parent my child the way I am, right? But how my kid is may be completely different from who I am as a parent. And Jinny is giving 5 nutrition. So for Lenny, key in finger scan. For Jinny, we're talking about 5 free nutrition, immunity and longevity health books worth $25. I've come through the book, it is rich. I mean, I'm someone who really enjoys learning. Just understanding the slight difference, even if I can make to my kids' diet and how it helps their brain grow a lot. Like simple things like eating broccoli, right? And I realized, and then I tell the kids, broccoli actually helps, even if you eat a little bit, and then we mix it up, the top flower part. So for Jinny, just key in books in the comment below. Other than that, I would love to have your questions below. And remember that we are setting up a group chat, a WhatsApp group chat. Look out for it in your email when you register. Look out for it in the Facebook group. And other than that, thank you so much for spending time with us. And if you agree and love what we're doing, do support our cause by clicking on the QR code. Any amount would really be a contribution in seeing this work being extended, because we are a social enterprise, and what we are about is creating this space where parents can come not just to be connected with experts, but parents can come to have their questions answered, because we believe that transformation, small actionable steps, is what will shift your life, and in your parenting journey, you're not alone. There's a whole village, behind with you. So thank you for this wonderful session, and you have and ask your friends to register, those who haven't, because they can well watch the replay. So thank you, and you have a wonderful start to the rest of the week. We've got 4 other days coming up with a different focus each day. Tomorrow will be on self, spouse, wealth, and health. So see you.
Junia,
Yes.
real quick, there's also the big prize, which is a wonderful report, 22-page report, Neuro-mapping report for the consultation of $499. That's the affiliate.
Yes, wonderful. So Lenny has wonderfully given a $499. That's the full works, okay? 22 pages, and that you get if you sign up as an affiliate. So what an affiliate is free. Just go on to our website. Whereas you share this with your friends, you get points. And from your points, you get to choose which of the gifts you get. So you have Jinny's one, another one from Lenny, and other gifts from Patricia. So thank you, and you have a blessed start to your week. See you.
See you.